and welcome to Date with the Divas. Thank you for clicking on our video. Since we know you're going to enjoy it, you might as well just click on that subscribe button if you haven't already. And while you're at it, you want to like this video and hit on that notification bell so you never miss out on our newest videos. Entourage, Divas, grab those beverages of choice. All right, and let's begin the shenanigans. Ms. Lava is telling us what is going on.
So we're going to do a little different. We're going to talk about, topics that are personal, that are, a little bit more, are relatable to our day to day. So when I was thinking about, what possibly, because honestly, I'm not the hostess with the mostest. So when I was thinking of like what to do, I thought about a situation in which essentially I felt insulted when someone said to me, "When do you exude feminine energy?" And I was like, "Excuse me?" So a gentleman said to me at a social function, like, "When do you exude your feminine energy? Like, when do you just, I forget the word that he used, was like submit." And so I guess in thinking about feminine and masculine energy, my masculine energy was about to come out.
Can I ask a question? Were you and this gentleman flirting?
So that's a whole nother story. No, I was not flirting.
Girl.
No, I was not flirting, had no interest in this person. And that's why my masculine energy was coming out, was because he has a mate and then he has a side. So I'm trying to figure out, why do you want to know about my masculine feminine energy when you got a whole situation going on? So that's my masculine energy was coming out.
Was making room for one more.
Whatever.
He wants a harem.
I guess so. But I was just like, so.
And he had just met you that night.
No. It was in a social setting. We had seen each other several times in social settings.
Okay, but he
had multiple occasions to observe you.
Yes, most definitely.
Okay, but you wouldn't qualify it as a friendship or anything like this, or it's just like more of a social kind of.
I don't communicate with this person on a day-to-day. At social functions, I see them and it's like, "Hey, how you doing?" We may be in the same like community or like bubble of people, and sometimes like when you go to certain functions, you kind of see the same repeat of people. So he is, one of those people. And it gets to the point where even though you're not familiar with that person, you kind of consider them an associate because you see them so often, you do have conversations with them, and you have fun with them. And that's what I considered it, like we're hanging out, we're having fun, listening to music and kind of like, shooting the crap, Okay. So I took offense to it.
Okay.
And then again, I tried to like push back, I guess, what he would probably classify as masculine energy, to be like, "I'm trying to figure out why you concerned about it. Okay. And you don't need to know about it." Mm-hmm. But I said to my, when I was trying to like come up with an answer, I was just like, okay, I personally feel that I am feminine. I don't think that there is anything about me, my walk, my talk, my body, that exudes masculine energy, because I don't fit. So I was, taken aback. Okay. And I said, but the one thing that I did kind of say to him, and I don't remember exactly, but I basically said to him, when a man gives me a reason to submit, where he proves to me that I can be safe, then I will submit. Now, why you're wondering about that, I'm still trying to figure that out. But again, when I am presented with the opportunity in which someone proves to me that they are deserving of this so-called feminine energy that you're trying to, come at me with, then that will happen.
Okay. Can I ask a quick question? Just based off of that, just make sure I understand. Are you saying that feminine energy means that women are submissive?
Well, he tagged that along.
Yeah, because those are two different things for me.
Me too. That's what I was taking. I was confused on how we're submitting
exactly.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure.
But he kind of tagged that on.
Got it.
So that's where I kind of had to like balance out my, my final statement. So I thought it would be an interesting topic for us to discuss. And so when I'm looking at, different things on the internet, I found an article that was called like masculine, the feminine dualism. And basically on the internet, it's on salmasharifa.com. And what she says is masculine and feminine energies are a dualism we all carry within, two opposing but complementary forces like yin and yang, sun and moon, light and dark. They're binary systems existing in nature, therefore in us, and one cannot exist without the other. It's like asking for the right side of your brain to work without your left. It just can't be done. So I was like, okay. So one of the things like they started to, I started to look up different characteristics of masculine and feminine energy as it relates to this particular topic, and apparently what this gentleman was coming at me with.
He sent you on a quest, huh?
He did. He down a
vision quest. There we go. You were going
down a rabbit hole of like Alice in Wonderland, fallen. Yeah. So I found a chart of like masculine and feminine energy. Qualities. And so it was like masculine is assertive, feminine is intuitive, masculine is dominant, feminine is nurturing, masculine is logical, feminine is emotional, masculine is protective, whereas feminine is vulnerable, masculine is strong, feminine is soft, masculine is doing, feminine is being. Then we have head and body, fast and slow, feminine being slow, pleasure and fun for feminine, and structure and protective for masculine. So now I find these qualities. And then I hit the jackpot, which kind of like defined like, okay, like I felt like this is the answer I should have get. Like if I was well prepared and did my research and knew the future, and he came to me with this question, hindsight is 2020, that I would have had this answer, kind of related to me in my situation, and most likely a lot of females' situations.
With masculine women with children.
Why is she masculine? Because she's had to raise the kids alone. Not one woman,
so
but
tell me,
a whole community.
So you mean to tell me the only woman I could look forward in my life is a masculine woman that has kids by other men?
No,
that's what I have to look forward to.
But I'm telling you, Black men are responsible for her being masculine because we have not helped her raise them children. She got masculine because she had to become masculine in order to deal with the rape, the abuse, the domestic violence, the disappointments that men had in her life, and also raising those kids and have to take care of herself all at the same time. The Black woman has been the be all in all in our community for half of a century. And now we want to turn around and say because she didn't do it perfectly enough or remain feminine enough where she had to absorb our responsibilities plus her own, that's insensitive and disingenuous. So
I found that and I was just like, wow, that was very enlightening. And I felt good knowing that this was out there. So I asked you, Divas, as well as Entourage, like, what are your thoughts?
The concept of duality isn't the first thing I thought about when I read the topics for tonight was Carl Jung, right? He theorized that every human being has has the opposite gender within them, right? So like the females have a male consciousness inside of them called the animus, and the males have female consciousness, the anima. And his theory, without getting too into psychology, is in order to find balance, you should embrace both, right? Which is exactly what those articles are that you sent, the underlying message, right? I don't necessarily, I found that video that Antrice just played, I don't really know how to take it because I don't like the word submission.
Agreed.
And I don't necessarily think that a woman who is taking care of herself and taking care of her family is somehow being masculine. And I get that he's trying to be supportive and sort of place culpability on I guess, the Black men who aren't doing what they're supposed to be doing. But I don't know what to do with that video.
What would be your retort in terms of what Lava's like if a man came to you with that statement that Lava mentioned earlier in the
beginning about like, when do you exude feminine energy?
Like you, Lava, I consider myself feminine in every aspect of my life. And for those of you who know me, I am a type A personality. I am a successful professional. So like I don't understand the definition of masculine energy and feminine energy. I don't see why a person who is a go-getter and has this person has their life together is necessarily masculine.
But why are we like giving a value to one over the other? Because if you exude mostly masculine energy, whether you're a man or a woman, I don't think that's necessarily a negative.
Negative.
You are. And if you exude mostly feminine energy, whether you're a man or a woman, that's you. That's your essence. I don't think one is better than the other.
I agree with you on that. I was just gonna say what I noticed, like, and I'm just stating from my perception, is that masculine energy is associated as negative when it's talking about Black women, but when you look at other nationalities, you don't really hear them talking about other nationality women who are doing the same thing as masculine. It seems
there's a lot of white women on social media talking about this topic, this feminine energy, masculine energy.
I'm sorry, I missed the first part, what you said.
There are a lot of white women talking.
I think it's a modern conversation we're having, and I don't think it's just about Black people.
Right.
I was saying from my opinion, that's how I haven't, and I'll be honest, I haven't seen through, and I didn't do a lot of research to see from the other nationalities, but I always notice that when the conversations are happening similar to that video, it's directed at Black women, typically. And again, I'm just saying from what my perception of it.
I see that come across my feed as well about Black women, but that could be just my algorithm.
Right, that's what I'm saying. I haven't seen a lot of other nationalities where it's been.
Because this is a conversation that's coming up now about what are female roles, what are male roles in relationship. And if two people are coming into the relationship with masculine energy dominating, then that's when there's conflict. That's the theory. So it doesn't have to be the woman. Someone has to come with the feminine energy and someone has to come with the masculine energy for the romantic relationship to flourish. That's the concept. But as women, we have to take care of ourselves. And you have to exude masculine energy at work if you're going to be successful in a career. But we sometimes bring that energy into the house. And if there's another masculine energy being in the house, then there's this going on. I think that's how the conversation got started.
It makes sense from the conversation. Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, and I think it just kind of, it's spiraled down a different thing, maybe. And like I said, our algorithm, where it's like, oh, it's negative. I mean, it's negative. Like
it's the Black woman wants to be a man. How are we supposed to be with her?
And we want to lead and all. A lot of it's like you said, it's like Lava, you said, the respect or meeting that person. I would love to not be, doing all that. But again, if you're single, you, like you said, Andres, you have to do that to take care of yourself, or if you're single with kids, you have to do that if you don't have a partner who's helping with your kids and raising them. So you then got to figure out, oh, I'm in this new relationship. I've got to adjust for them. And men or whoever you're going to get with needs to allow time for that adjustment too. Because if you have been single and leading in a masculine way, you have to kind of adjust now to the new norm of this relationship you're in.
But I agree with what was said earlier. Lava had mentioned that about this masculine feminine being a yin and yang, and that masculine feminine energy is in both male and female. Right? So in a relationship, it's just when that comes out, you have to know when in the relationship it's coming, and so for it to work to mesh together. Right. So I do believe in a relationship you can have where there are times when, where it's like in a relationship, everybody has their role or whatever. You're the one that takes care of the bills just because maybe the other person is just not great at it. You're the one that wants to handle the car. I don't know. I'm just giving little examples, but that's kind of where it meshes.
And it's chef's kiss, as my daughter would say. And that's exactly how I feel in terms of like, okay, there are times that I'm going to take, and I'm going to use take the lead.
Right.
Yeah.
There's times that I'm going to take the lead because I'm more proficient or more knowledgeable in this. So I'll take the lead. Or as you're more proficient or have a relationship or some sort of tie to it, you can speak upon that and you do it. But at the end of the day, in this relationship, it's not about who's leading per se in total, but it's like, how do we as a couple conjoin and make this work where your qualities and your positive assets come into play in different situations. And your mate or the person that you're dealing with, those personal, when the time is necessary, you know what, you got it, because this is your forte. So I'm going to let you handle that. But there should be an opportunity and a balance in some sort of way where both people have the opportunity to lead or exude, and I hate saying this, exude this masculine energy.
I have thoughts on it just outside of a relationship, because I was reading all the links and stuff that you sent, and a lot of this feminine energy I felt was like taking care of yourself. It's like, oh, take some time to meditate, take some time to get out in the grass and stuff. So it's like, are we saying that men are not supposed to do that? They absolutely are supposed to take some time for themselves. They are not supposed to be workhorses, whether in a relationship or not. And I think that can be very dangerous for men to feel like, oh, I've got to work.
Provide.
I am not allowed to take time for myself. This is what the women do. This is that feminine energy. So as I was reading it, I was like, and I'm sure.
Wait, let me ask you an honest question, Marnita. Yeah. I'm jumping back into the relationship mode. Yeah. Do you want a man that spends as much time on himself as you do?
I mean, I don't see a problem with that. Like, I don't feel
like
there's different ways. Like, I don't think he's going to be spending time on himself the same way that I do. Like, I personally don't want a man that's up in the nail salon, like, oh, honey, I had to go get my manicure or whatever. But I'm just saying,
his thing might be, let's go play basketball. And
I think it's dangerous for it to be assumed that a man cannot take time for themselves. And like you said, it might not.
Everybody may not needs mental health,
but I think it looks different.
I was gonna say it looks different. If the man's up in the mirror, like for an hour or two, getting ready, primping, that.
And I'm not saying superficially. I'm not saying superficially.
Taking long baths.
I'm not saying
walking through the grass, smelling the roses.
But Andre, I'm with you on that one. If he out there hiking, different.
And I get what y'all saying. I get what y'all are saying. Like, there's duality in everything, right? I think that it's kind of dangerous to be like, oh, masculine, feminine energy. And what I was going to say is, I'm sure that the way society is going, that people are going to start calling it something different, type A, type B energy, something like that, because it is a yin and yang, and taking care of yourself can look different. But no, I don't want a man who's primping in the mirror as long as I am. You know, I don't want that. I don't want to be shopping for makeup together. He can do his skincare or whatever. That's fine. That's my personal preference. I'm just saying that it just seemed like feminine energy was take some self-care, and masculine energy was get it done. And it's
it was being in tune with your body, like
exactly,
time to dance, to slow down, be
right.
more.
And I don't necessarily want a man I don't want to come home and he's
I don't want to see
this in the mirror.
No, but you guys are taking it to a different level. I mean, there can be ways for a man. I mean, if a man wants to go, you know, and this is his stress relief, is to be just, you know what, hun, I need a second. I'm just going to go read in the park.
Right.
Is that a bad thing?
And unwinding, you know, it looks different. It looks different for different people.
You guys are simplifying.
Right. No, I think you guys are taking it to a whole.
I was like, it is simple.
I think you guys are
taking care of yourself is simple.
It is simple. Yeah.
Okay, so wait. So what I will say is this.
I think it's why a lot of relationships don't work.
But again, I wasn't talking about it from a relationship sense. I'm just talking about
a personal
the definitions that we have read from the link sent of masculine energy, feminine energy.
I was struggling with some of those links and some of those definitions. I didn't agree, so that's why I was like, this is interesting, or just my perspective of seeing something like, oh, if you're strong, or you know, you're I can't even remember some of the simple ones. I'm like, huh, that's masculine? That's kind of okay.
I think it's meant to be taken in the context of two people together. Two types of energy that create synergy and harmony.
Exactly.
That's the point of it. It's not like a bunch of girls over here doing this, what they're doing is bad, and the guys over here doing this and what they're doing is good. Right. But it's like, if someone in the house is showing their strength, then you're the feminine is allowing that person to take care of them. So the feminine is receiving while the masculine is giving. The concept is there has to be a duality within the relationship.
Exactly.
Right. But you have to bring something. You're going to have that energy before you're in a relationship with any other person.
Exactly. And that's what those links were teaching.
That's what I was saying.
To become feminine, take more time with yourself. That's to teach you to get into your feminine energy.
Exactly. So I will say this.
I guess I have issues with the title or the naming it a particular gender, right? That these characteristics are masculine and these genders are very.
But it's not gender specific, because like I said, there are men that are feminine. They give feminine energy. There are women who give a lot of masculine.
But in the context of how this gentleman presented it to me, it's not that.
He's a masculine energy man. And so he's attracted to women that exude
feminine energy. Exactly.
Yes.
But why does the characteristic of being an assertive person have to be identified as masculine?
And I think that's where it's dated.
Can it just be someone that has a dominant personality versus someone who has a more passive energy, right? I don't like having
the terminology.
I get what you're saying, that women and men can have, you know, feminine energy or masculine energy. Just the categorization based on masculine and feminine, that's what I have issue with.
So it's just to piggyback maybe on Michelle, the terminology has not evolved to how.
Correct.
Correct. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, go ahead, Lavelle.
This is what's been happening through the test of time. This is how things were exuded from the very beginning.
Right.
And the concept that women can have these assertive tendencies is a new nuance.
Nuance.
You know, it hasn't been that old. I mean, women only got the right to vote so long ago, and they still think that we cannot rule because we are not assertive enough or knowledgeable
or too
enough.
emotional.
Right.
You know,
So,
one of the, oh, sorry, go ahead, Lola.
No, go Michelle. Go Michelle.
I was just gonna say one of the videos the Facebook video where the older gentleman is interviewing the young
Right.
28-year-old.
I was gonna get to that point. Yeah.
Finish her statement. Go ahead.
It's
Michelle.
just that one. Well, I'm glad you're going to bring it up because I found that one really offensive. Like I wanted to reach out and slap that man.
He was so condescending.
Very condescending. Very condescending. So there are two things that I wanted to point out. There was a quote that I found by Justin Tristow that said, "Men want women to rest in their feminine energy, but lack the ability to provide a safe enough space for her to do that." And so that's where I was coming from in regards to this gentleman approaching me, is just like, it was just like, there was so many things going through my mind as it relates to that, you know, there were certain phrases, you know, that I was trying to like come up with to kind of like communicate how I felt about, you know, his statement. And I feel just like everyone has sort of communicated, like, why does this masculine, feminine have to be like a negative, positive, when it should be, just like we said, duality, a yin and yang, where those features actually make up the beings that we are, you know, as complicated as we are, as well as the relationships that we have with different people. And those energies are what make those relationships sustainable, because there is this, you know, back and forth between those, you know, particular, you know, energies.
Or it does.
Hold on a second.
So I think that's the point of the conversation, is knowing when it's the right time.
Right.
To exude that masculine energy. Like we said earlier, when you're at work, that's the perfect time to step in to those masculine energy qualities that you possess. Even within the home as a woman, when you're disciplining your kids, that's a woman exuding her masculine energy in that context. But when her man comes home and just wants to sit and have dinner with her, maybe that's not the time. Maybe that's the time to jump back into your feminine energy. And I think where this conversation came from is sometimes as women, we keep bringing that masculine energy of wanting to say how we feel and tell everybody what to do, and that type A energy. You do this, you go here. No, we're going to do this. No, we're going to do that. And the guy's like, hey, wait, where's my space in this? Just follow, I'll lead. And that leads into your whole submission conversation, where the woman to feel that a space has been provided for her to follow. That masculine energy has to have been presented and be reliable and trustworthy.
There we go. Yeah, there's the next.
So going in like what Michelle said, it was like that conversation. I forget the dude's name. His name is like Kevin.
Kevin S.
Yes. And so it was like the bulk of it was like basically talking about like wifey material.
Like Samuels is problematic anyway.
He is.
Or excuse me, was. He
was exactly, because he did pass.
Because he died alone.
Yes. You know, and
single. He died alone and single. Like
single, exactly. He was very condescending in how he spoke to this woman, and she was very diplomatic.
Yes.
In her, and she kept her cool, you know, as it related to, you know, him just being totally just being asinine, a donkey, straight up, as Charlemagne would say, a donkey, about like his perception of, you know, what's wifey material, which kind of ties into, you know, Antrice, what you're saying. And again, like this whole topic of like submission, like why does that even have to be a criteria? And, you know, people always go back to quotes of the Bible talking about we must, you know, that women must submit. But like, why does that even have to be an underlying thing why can't we be conjoined and be a unit?
I think too, it's the word submission,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
But if you're not getting too heavy with the word submission, right?
Mhm.
It's just really, okay, you're just taking a step back, right? And allowing,
Letting someone else lead.
yeah, letting someone else lead,
lead.
you know, and
But
yeah.
what's wrong with that? Why have we demonized that?
Well, I think it's the word. And then also,
The context in which it's used when you use that word.
But also too, I think, you know, because I don't know, the way things have changed, women, and I don't say all women, but I'm just saying in general, you know, whatever, have been burned so much where it's like, you know what, I will, quote, submit. And then all of a sudden you're just in trouble and it's like, oh, now I gotta figure
I
all
gotta
this
get
out.
myself
And
out
we,
of
you
this
know,
I gotta put in double a masculine energy, get
In order
myself
to
out
get
of this
myself
to get
back
us
to
out of
status
this.
or
quo.
whatever.
Thing though, let's be real.
Yeah.
Like, you can submit all day, all night into Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. But if on Saturday he starts acting a fool, it's like, oh no, no. Now we done with that. You know what I mean? Like, you submit, and then if it gets crazy, then you just stop. Like, what's the big deal though?
The big deal is I could submit and be like, boo, yes, he's taking care of the mortgage. And 7 months from now, I realize I'm losing my house. That's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
So
So you
maybe
submitted to the wrong
maybe
man. You submitted to a
see, this
liar
is what
and
I'm
an
talking
idiot.
about, but this is what we're talking
So,
about.
But I
ladies,
think
submit to the right person.
I
Like,
think it
There
can
you
also
go.
And that's what I said in the beginning.
Right. I think also it's again going back to like what I said about it being dated. Like, okay, so back in the I don't know 50s, whatever, it was like okay, you get out of high school, you marry somebody, and that person is expected. The roles were a lot more: man goes to work, woman stays home, submits, does the house chores and stuff. Now it's not like that. You've got women that they've been on their own for a while. So you have to bring that yin and the yang. Somebody got to take the trash out when you're living alone. It's got to be you. You've got to step
yeah,
into
but what
that
do you do when a
masculine energy.
man moves in the house? Do you keep taking the trash out?
I mean, y'all got to have a talk about it. I don't know. Hopefully he will take the trash out. Hopefully, I mean, and that's where you got to talk about like your expectations or whatever. And goes back to what Joe said. It's like, where do I take the lead? Where do you take the lead?
So
And,
I
and,
would
and
say
you said it's based on a conversation that you have to have, because I would say in the last 20 years, I have come across couples where the woman is the breadwinner and the husband is the homemaker.
Right.
And he's the one that deals with the children and taking care of the home, while she goes out and she is the
hustler.
exactly the hustler. So these are conversations that are had
There,
at the beginning
there
of
are
the
lots of
relationship.
women that like a feminine energy man. Like, I don't think there's anything wrong
Yeah.
with it.
No, right. But also too, I think that feminine energy is gonna come in where it just needs to be. And again, I think
What do you
we're
mean? What do you mean by that? What do you mean?
see, because again, it's the terminology, just like Michelle said, it's the terminology. We're thinking, oh, feminine is just like, okay, the wilted flower, and then the masculine is, this. Okay, fine. But it can just be the person taking the lead and the one stepping back, right? So that's what I mean, where there can be a time where it's just like, okay, you know what? Um, I'm better at the homework in the male, it's me as a male, right? The male is just like, I'm better at the homework, babe. I'm gonna deal with the homework with the kids, or I as a male, I'm just better at getting the kids to eat than you are. It could just be that, just could be, and maybe I'm just gonna step back and be like, you know what, he is better at it. Let him do it. That's if it
So
works.
I will say to you this, like that combination, and again, going down a rabbit hole, I was thinking about like different relationships I had and where where you're used to doing so many things for yourself and not depending on people, where I had to, in this one relationship with this one person, had to recognize like he's wanting to exude this masculinity and trying to show me like, listen, You don't have to do it all. So like, I'll give you an example. One thing, he would not allow me to touch a door. Never. I'm opening that door for you and I'm going to allow you to walk in. That's one. He was not like, he was very, particular about like seatings in a particular restaurant, because I need to see that, that purview of the door so I can protect you, so that, if something bad is happening. Walking in the street, he was going to walk on the outside so that if any harm were to come, it would come to him first and I could be able to move out of the way. Getting in the car, he was going to open the car door for me. So like for me, I'm so used to just doing my thing or whatever. And it got to a point, at one point, he slapped my hand. I was like, let me open the door for you. And I was just like, oh, and I had to like get used to like, again, he made it his business to make me feel like, you know what, I got you. And so I'm not going to say that I became this wilted flower, but I could relax and just be me, a woman, and just kind of like chill. And even like to the point where ordering food in a restaurant, but there was an issue. And I was like, girl, you need to, okay, he was like, listen, I got this. I know what the problem is. I will address it. Don't worry about it. You don't have to get yourself worked up. So it's like,
and you like that, right? It's nice when a man.
It's nice.
It is
but
but the
you have
space
to
was
prove
provided.
to me that you can do it.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, but you have to be in receptive mode.
Right.
Most definitely. Most definitely. Most definitely.
I don't think that, I disagree that feminine is the wilted flower. I think there's a tremendous amount of power in femininity.
Most definitely.
Yes, yes.
Feminine energy rules the home. The woman with strong feminine energy, everybody's catering to her.
Most definitely.
Moving around her energy. Her energy can bring the house up or down.
Down. Most definitely.
So I think there's a lot of power in the feminine, personally.
So with you saying that, Antrese, the next quote that I found, which it made me have like almost like, not like an aha moment, but like a resting moment in my spirit in terms of like hearing it, reading it, we're like, okay, I can receive that. And it was like, feminine energy is raw, wild, powerful, mystical, and sacred. I was just like, all right, I received that.
And that goes to Antrese's statement.
Exactly. Where it is a powerful thing to be feminine, but I'm not taking away from, the masculineness, but at the end of the day is me being a woman in general, there is power within that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, because when you're the feminine to a good masculine man,
say it again.
A good man.
Say it again one more time.
When you're the feminine to a good masculine man, that man is going to jump through hoops of fire to please you, to make you happy.
And vice versa.
Of course. We do it for bad men though.
That's the problem.
Right.
I guess that's when the yin and the yang start messing up. That's why.
Thank you.
So I have a question. Lava, your example of this gentleman opening the door and, walking on the street side of the sidewalk or whatever, and how you enjoyed that. And, I enjoyed that too. Men opening the door for me and pulling out my chair and
carrying things for you.
Yes. Are there women that would find that a negative
offensive?
That a man would
there are
do that?
women. Yeah.
Probably so.
So is that the conversation of not embracing the feminine energy?
Yes.
And also, this goes back to, I think either Lavelle or maybe it was Marnita said, that's the conversation too. Because again,
knowing what his intentions are.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's not even a conversation. It's being aware.
And that can be it too. But like, if you're not used to that, like if I'm not used to somebody opening a door for me and I go to open the door and he smacks my hand, I'm like,
no, but I'm just saying he did that because he was trying to like let me know like after a certain amount of time.
Right. But it's like, it's, yeah, if I first all notice, the restaurant thing happens to me a lot when I go on date. I just sit down and they're like, and I had one guy tell me like, hey, just so you know, I like to sit where I can see the door. And I was like, oh, okay, my apologies. I didn't think about that. So it is one being receptive to those kind of things and like kind of open and seeing it. And I've been thinking about this a lot, just we as people, I think we have to make sure we're communicating. We don't all have the same backgrounds. We don't all have the same upbringings and things like that. So what seems normal to me might not be normal to someone else. So for him, opening the door might be normal for him. For this lady, it may not be normal for her. So it does not hurt for him to say, hey, I'd like to treat you like a lady. I like to open your door, blah, 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 blah. And then for her to be receptive to it.
Marnie, I actually agree with you on that. I mean, I've had guys where I expect them to open doors and just like you said, they don't do it. And I'll stand, I'd be like, hi, are you gonna open my door? And he's like, oh my gosh, I forgot. And then so it's almost, and I don't want to, it's teaching them what you expect.
Yeah.
And and it's like, hey, this is what I expect. Is this something you're able, you're going to adjust to do? And if not, then I gotta make a determination if that's what I need out of that person in that situation,
right?
From that perspective. And I mean, I know about this. Not you're sitting with your back to the door. Like guys do not do that. I always put my back to the door. I mean but that was how I was raised. I mean, so that's why I know.
And I hadn't heard of it until that gentleman that I was on a date with had said that, and I was like, oh, my bad.
And this is what we said. This is all part of a conversation, right?
Most definitely. I agree. So, Entourage, I need for you to get in those comments. Tell us, let us know what are your opinions? How are you dealing with it? Because again, I know this is something that comes up, a lot. And again, just like Auntie said, these are things that are coming up, more often. So let us know what you think. What I do want to end with, because again, with that whole situation, it kind of gave me like PTSD, it truly did. And like certain times when I'm in a situation, I'm like, Dad, it really gave me PTSD. So, but on the flip side, maybe that was a positive thing because then it makes
me down the rabbit hole, right?
Exactly. And then it makes me kind of like a little bit more aware of my actions and how I speak or whatever. I found this poem. So I want to, end on a high note, basically about like what we as women are. So basically saying to a woman, I thought this was nice. Like, you are good enough. You're beautiful the way you are already. Let go of outdated beliefs. Let go of outdated beliefs. Let go of expectations. Let go of control and how you think things should be. Just let things flow freely. Don't be afraid anymore to be who you are meant to be. You feel it. You know what it is. Stop running from yourself. You are ready. So I feel like that encompasses, like, again, like there's so much pressures out there that sometimes that we kind of need to, and going what Marnita said, sometimes we need to kind of like be in the moment and let go of the expectation of what this world, quote unquote, has for us and just live within whatever is for us.
I like that.
Well said.
So hopefully I did something good today, and hopefully I sparked some some conversations, as well as just thinking and looking at a different perspective of things. And hopefully everyone in the entourage and you ladies, you divas, enjoyed this conversation. We did. So tune in again. Make sure you join in the comments. Subscribe. Let us know what you thought, how you thought about the conversations, and we'll see you guys next week.
All right.
Bye.
Good night.